alimony and child support. What's the deal? Can you use that income to buy your spouse out of the house? Hi, I'm Rebecca Foote from the Rebecca Foote Mortgage Team, and back with us today is Kara Haggerty from the law offices of Peter Russo. So thanks for coming back on, Kara.
Thank you so much for having me, Rebecca.
So this is a topic we get a lot because people want to know, can they use their alimony and child support for qualifying for a mortgage? But before we get to that, what even determines alimony?
That's a really good question, and not as easy of an answer as many people like to think.
Of course it's not.
So there are what I'd like to describe as pre-divorce support and post-divorce support. And pre-divorce support, there are two kinds: spousal support or alimony pendente lite, which is Latin for alimony pending the outcome of the divorce, essentially. You can get one or the other of those before you're divorced. It just matters as to whether there's a divorce complaint filed or not, and some other factors. That type of support is income-based and typically awarded to help the more dependent spouse with the litigation costs of their divorce.
Oh, okay.
So, but the main point from your perspective, I believe, is that it terminates once the divorce decree is final.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be a problem.
Yes. Ongoing alimony is awarded by the court, but it's not a guaranteed award. That's at the court's discretion. So oftentimes, it's often calculated also by the parties' incomes or by agreement of the parties, which is more likely what happens. If you have to go to court, there are factors that the court considers in whether or not they're going to award alimony. But if the parties agree to a term of alimony and an amount, we can put that into an agreement, such as our MSA, which you often use in helping people with the refinance process.
Yes. So an MSA is a marital settlement agreement.
Yes.
And that is something that we would use in order to show the income coming in. And I'm just going to jump and say this statement is for both alimony and child support. In order for us to use it for qualifying income, you have to receive it for at least the next 3 years. So if you have a child turning 18 in 2 years, I can't use that child's part of the support for qualifying.
And that's, again, one of the reasons that I often encourage my clients to come and speak to you in advance or as early in the process as possible, because that can be an important negotiation point when we're talking about ongoing support for a spouse, knowing that they need to receive alimony or any type of support for a period of at least 3 years for it to be considered for the refinance process.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay, alimony, they may or may not get it. It may be pre-divorce
support.
Pre-divorce support. That is a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Or it could be post. And for the mortgage, we're going to need the post or an MSA. If it's before the decree, we need an MSA saying it. And then child support, how's that determined?
Child support is obviously support that can be awarded if you have minor children under the age of 18. Okay. And that typically is paid to the primary custodian, or in the case of shared custody, it's paid to the party that makes less. Okay. That is also a calculation that's created by the state, much more complicated for our purposes, but there's a certain amount of support that's awarded based on your incomes again, and it lasts until your child turns age 18 or graduates high school, whichever is later.
All right, and that's good to know. So college is just if the parents are going to help, and who and how much is all on them.
Absolutely. Under Pennsylvania statutes, there's no legal obligation for a parent to pay for college or any kind of ongoing education. That's why that graduation from high school date is always important. Many parents will try, but we can't obligate them to do it.
I understand. I understand. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on to explain the alimony and child support, because it is a topic that we do get regularly here, especially in divorce scenarios where we need the extra income for somebody to retain the house or purchase the new one.
Yeah, I can imagine that that's an area that people often have to rely on, particularly if that's a big, major part of their monthly income.
Yes, yes. And a lot of times it is if they were a homemaker spouse, that's all they have.
Absolutely. There's often the only income somebody receives immediately after separation is some type of child support or an alimony, pendente lite, or spousal support award.
Pende lite. Pende di lite.
You can stay with Lendy.
Okay,
How about
I'll
that?
stay with Lenny. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Kara. I'm Rebecca Foote from the Rebecca Foote Mortgage Team, and Kara Haggerty from the law offices of Peter Russo. And you can find all of our contact information below. Please make sure you subscribe, and if you have any questions for either one of us, please don't hesitate to reach out.